Here are some changes we've made for clinicians in CPOE. The first one is the patients who are assigned to me will be listed at the top of the listing page. So, for example, if I choose three patients and say assigned to self, they will come at the top of the queue, and that would make it easier to find as well. Now, if these patients are released back to the queue, uh, that is a deassignment, then they go back to their original positions on the queue. The second change we've made is to make it easier to search and find patients and open their EMR with one click. So at the top, you can see that there's a search bar where you can type the patient name and click on Open EMR. And you don't have to select the patient and scroll down to the bottom and say Assign to Self before you open the link. So that button will do both those actions. Now, there are two ways in which you can search. You can either search by name, by typing the first few characters of the name and find the patient, or you can type the patient number. We've introduced a floating navigation bar on the EMR, and I'll just show you what that looks like. So we open the page, and as you can see, as you begin to scroll up, the patient details are floated at the top of the page, and they'll stay exactly where they are. Below that is the navigation bar, and there are links to different sections of the page that you can easily jump to without having to scroll through the page or use the mouse wheel. So here you can see the key sections that clinicians would access regularly is listed at the top, including charity. And in this case, because there's no order placed and there's no uh, amounts, the charity section is not visible. So in real use, let's see what it looks like. Say you wanted to just reorder a couple of medications. It's just a few clicks now, and you can jump right to the bottom of the page, choose the cost center, and then save. We've also added a facility by which the doctor will be able to preview lab results directly on the examined patient's list. So let's take a patient, and the patient comes in with a high grade fever, and the doctor is ordered for a complete blood test to be done. So into services and then a CBC. Now let's take another patient, say a patient who's come in for a regular diabetes consultation, and there are some sugar tests that are ordered for this patient. So let's just order that quickly. And a postprandial test. Well, I can't find it. There it is. So these tests have been ordered for these two patients, and you can see on the examined patients listing, the patients have appeared, and we have a new column there. The first blue box indicates tests that have been ordered. The second indicates tests that have been billed. The third is the count of tests that have been completed but not yet released, and the fourth is the tests that have been released. So let's bill these two patients so that these orders are visible in the lab. So now these tests should be visible in the lab, and You can see here that the counts have now moved to the next box to indicate that the tests were billed by the patient. We now jump into the lab. The tests are here. One of them has been is ready for release for one patient, and the other test is also in the same state. Now, what does it look like to the doctor? We would expect to see one test each in the yellow boxes because they are waiting to be released. So at this point, the doctor can have a quick preview, knowing fully well that the result may change, but gets an early view in case the patient comes back to the doctor to find out whether he can, the test looks okay and he can go back home. So now let me just release this test just to show you that the count changes yet again. We'll do that for the second patient's test as well. And we'll put in a reading for the postprandial and leave it at the ready to release state. Now we switch back to the doctor's login and look at what those counts show. And you can see that there's one test that's ready to release and there are other tests that are released already. We made this functionality available for patients who come from very far off places and who are inconvenienced if they have to wait till the formal results are released. So hopefully this will help and make a difference to patients as well as doctors.